Hey guys, Laura Gruneisen here. I'm here today to talk to you about some of our chapter books from the January 2016 catalog, and then also about how to do some product knowledge on them without actually having to read through all of the books. So the first thing I want to talk about is why I love chapter books so much. There's a couple reasons. Number one, they're an excellent price point. Usually they're $7 or under, and that makes them really easy to sell. The other reason is that they're often in a series. So when you have one kid get hooked on one of them, oftentimes they're going to love it. And then they're going to come back and want the rest of the series. And that gives you a great opportunity for a repeat customer, which means that they're going to be a repeat hostess, which means that eventually, hopefully, they're going to become your teammate. The other reason is that chapter books span a really large age range. It seems like we always consider them to be something that we read independently, but as we know in Usborne, it's great to continue to read aloud and that kids comprehend 2 grade levels above what they read independently. So when we choose books, sometimes it's great to choose a read aloud that's a chapter book, which means that you can start enjoying it much younger and then again as you read it independently. So here are some of the things that I do. So when I first am looking at some books, for example, the Sword of Kuramori, what I like to do is I look at the cover, I look at the back and it says none of these are on Kenny's Blackwood sightseeing list when he arrives in Japan. But even before he lands at the airport, things start to get weird. So I know that this is going to be an adventure book. It obviously has a little bit of violence because it has the sword in it. I oftentimes will go online to our e-commerce site and I look at what the age range says. Those are a good place to start because it gives a conservative age group. So the Sword of Kuramori says 14 and up. I know because I've read one chapter of it. I look at the words, I look at how complex they are, I look at the size of the text. That gives me another clue as to who's going to be the reader of this. There are no illustrations in it. It's probably going to be an upper level book. Based on content, if you've read Hunger Games, if you've already read Harry Potter, this is going to be right up that alley. It's totally fine. But because Usborne is conservative and they don't want anybody to read this book without being fully aware, they mark it as a 14 and up. So do a little bit of digging to see what the reader likes, but this is a really good option for them. It's also fantastic and full of adventure. It has lots of Japanese mythology in it. So if you're looking for a book after reading the Percy Jackson series, this might be another one to consider. So another thing what I'm doing when I look through a book, I look at the back, I look at the cover, and then as I'm reading one chapter, for instance, in Sandy Lane Stables, I realized, because I didn't look closely, this is actually a book about a boy. I love this because it's got gender neutral, it's got some gender neutrality there. You can have it, a boy or a girl read it, as most of our books are, but I love that the idea that boys can love horses too. This is a great book. I actually ended up reading the whole thing, Hazard of the Trade. But Tom's cousin has loaned him Chansey, her stunning chestnut gelding, for the summer. So basically, Tom gets Chansey for the summer while his cousin is traveling, and he gets to retrain this horse because apparently she has ruined him and made him very unsteady, and he bites and he is hard to work with. So how is he going to get Chansey ready for the big tournament at the end of the summer? This is an excellent read. When I look at it, I look and say, it looks like it would probably be a 3rd to 4th grade reading level. Judging by the size of the text and some of the words in it, injured, indispensable, it talks about riding lessons and cost and not being able to afford things. It actually goes right in line with what the internet says, what our e-commerce site says at 8+. So that would be a great recommendation. Another one that I really like is The Secret Mermaid. This is an example of when a book has pictures in it, you can kind of tell it's for a slightly younger set. It still has some complex words and pages, but you can see that the illustrations are in there to add to comprehension. And it also has a more simplistic storyline. It's a little bit less complex. Molly's just like any other girl when her family moves to Horseshoe Bay. But then her gran gives her a pretty seashell necklace, and Molly is amazed to discover it is enchanted. So it's all about how she becomes a secret mermaid, and all the subsequent in the series are all about her and her secret mermaid life. This says on our e-commerce site it's for ages 7+, and that goes right along with what I was saying, that it's a little bit easier than the Sandy Hill Stable, so probably 2nd grade. And that goes right in it because we know that Billy B is a good series for 1st grade and beginning 2nd, and this would be onward from there. Another one I want to talk about is The Impossible Quest. So if you go online, you'll see on your e-commerce site, it recommends this book for ages 9 through 13. This is just about right. There's no illustrations in it. Any books that are like 3rd, 4th grade and up really do not contain illustrations in it anymore. So that's a really quick way to tell whether the book is going to be 3rd grade and up or 2nd grade and below. One of the things I really like about this is just how captivating this series is. And because the whole series is out all at once, you have somebody who can go and binge read all of them in one sitting. So it's a great way to get them hooked on one. They're going to come back for the other 4. So it says Wolfhaven Castle has been attacked and only 4 escape capture. Tom, Eleanor, Sebastian, and Quinn. This book is great because it talks about gender roles, it talks about class, it talks about magic and some other things to put it in there. It has some historical reference as well, what life in a castle might be like. This also goes into some upper level themes, and so I think that is why there's a 13 and upper level on it. Really wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is something that also an adult could enjoy as well. The New York Times did a study and found out that most adults read for pleasure between a 5th and a 7th grade reading level. For example, Hunger Games is written at a 5th grade reading level. Twilight is written at a 5th grade reading level. If you look at the Harry Potter series, it starts at a 5th grade level, and by the end of the series is only at a 7th grade reading level. So if adults are looking for a good action-packed adventure book, these two are really good options at 13 and 14 years old age recommendations. So just keep that in mind, that adults can enjoy our books too. Another one I want to talk about, the last one, is The True Stories of Gangsters. The e-commerce site recommends this for ages 9 and up, and I agree with that rating. Again, no pictures, so you can tell it's a 3rd grade and up reading level. I think the reason why it should be an upper level book is also because it talks a little bit about violence. It has such things as bank robbers, prison, whiskey, a little bit of drug action. There's 11 stories in this. What I love about this book is also that it's 11 self-contained stories. So for reluctant readers, this is a really great book. They can open it up, read one story, aka one chapter, put it down, and feel like they've accomplished something. This is really important for people who do not enjoy reading, that they can get a beginning, a middle, and an end in a short amount of time. That is not true for any of the other books, though once they start reading them, they will certainly be captivated. Hope this helps you guys to streamline your product knowledge process and get you a little bit more excited about selling those upper level books. Our chapter books are really wonderful, and there are so many to choose from.